Hey everybody, welcome to another video. And in today's video, I'll be going over the Blue Jays spring training game against the Pittsburgh Pirates and also some injury updates on some of the Toronto Blue Jay players. So, Pittsburgh wins this game by a final score of 4-1. Kevin Pillar had a really great game today. He was 3 for 3. He picked up our only run on an RBI single in the second inning. Sean Rodriguez would tie it up with a solo home run for Pittsburgh in the bottom of the second to answer right back. Eric Wood would pick up for the Pittsburgh Pirates would pick up an RBI single in the sixth inning, and in the bottom of the seventh, Pittsburgh would add a 2-run home run as well. That would essentially be it for the Blue Jays in this game. The story of the game really was the Pittsburgh Pirates pitching, holding the Jays for a combined 6 for 29 at the plate today. It seems like the only Blue Jays that could get any offense kind of going were Kevin Pillar, who went 3 for 3, and Steve Pearce, who went 1 for 3 for the Blue Jays today. They were like the only Jays that could even get on base and really do anything. J-Hap was the starter for the Blue Jays in this one. He looked pretty good. He pitched 2 innings, had 3 strikeouts. The only hit and run he gave up was obviously the solo home run to Sean Rodriguez. But other than that, I thought J-Hap looked pretty solid for the Blue Jays today. You got to give credit to the Blue Jays pitching staff too. They only allowed Pittsburgh to gather 4 hits, but they gave up 4 runs. One of them being a solo home run, one being a 2-run home run, and an RBI single. And in the 7th, before the 2-run home run they gave up, was another single. So it seemed like it was a pretty pitcher's duel kind of all afternoon long between the Blue Jays and the Pirates. Pirates pick up their first win of the spring. They're now 1-4, and the Blue Jays fall to 2-5. I'm not too concerned about whether they win or lose. Spring training is all about guys that are trying to make your roster, and you're just trying to see essentially how they play when they get their opportunities to get in games in the spring. So for some injury updates for the Toronto Blue Jays, Marcus Stroman is still dealing with some inflammation in his right shoulder. He's projected to be back in really early April, so he might miss the first series or two in April, but he should be ideally back within the first week. I know the Blue Jays medical staff is really taking their time, making sure Stroman's 110% before he comes back. Because last year the Blue Jays were just absolutely decimated with injuries. It seemed like whenever we would get somebody back from injury, somebody else would just get injured. It was like an ongoing thing all year long for the Blue Jays. To the point where it's like, wow, we must be really the unluckiest team in the league because every one of our players gets injured. So hopefully that doesn't occur again this year. If we relatively stay healthy, I believe we will be a wild card team this year. Because there's no way we could be any worse for injuries like we were last season. There's no way. I mean, we're going to deal with some injuries this year. Every team has their injuries, but we were just completely decimated. We had a lot of AAA guys in our lineup. I believe like midway through June, it was like, oh my God, so many injuries, so many key guys are out. Hopefully that doesn't happen again this year. Randall Grichuk has a sprained right wrist. He's expected to miss 1 to 2 days. They say it's nothing really serious. Again, I hope the medical staff really takes their time in making sure Grichuk is 110% before they even bring him back in the lineup for some game action. Again, Troy Tulowitzki, he's still out with an injury. They were saying he might begin the year on the DL for the Blue Jays, so that's not really a good thing to hear if you're a fellow Blue Jay fan like me. But on the bright side, Diaz and Nagope have been very good so far this spring. I've really liked Nagope's offense. Diaz, I've really liked his defense. So they could pick either one of those two guys to be the extra infielder to start the year in case Tulowitzki doesn't start the year on opening day. Right now, it doesn't look like it. He's not even running the bases. He's not even doing any running whatsoever. I know John Gibbons said he looked really good today taking ground balls, but if you're not running, that's not really a good sign. Yeah, because if he has to have surgery to remove that bone spur in his right ankle, he could be out for at least like probably 6 to 8 weeks with that surgery having to be done. So that won't be a really good thing. That's not a good way to start the year if you're the Blue Jays, having your starting shortstop out for probably the first month or two with a right ankle injury. Yeah, that's... Oh, and other news, not injury related. I found out today that Ezekiel Carrera has been outrighted by the Blue Jays. He was actually designated for assignment in spring training. He will still be with the club. He'll still be back up in the spring training lineup, but they say he won't be a main roster invitee. They didn't really explain what that really means, but what I'm getting from that is now that Carrera has been kind of outrighted by the team, he's going to have to earn his spot on the roster. It's not just going to be given to him. Like in previous years, I believe he was like essentially guaranteed a roster spot because he had a big league contract. So he was always going to be one of our extra outfielders. Not so this time around. He's going to have to really earn it. With Anthony Alford having an amazing spring, Alfred's already got a home run this spring. He had a double and a triple in the same game in that 9-8 loss to the Yankees earlier this week. So Anthony Alford's looked really good. He's starting to use his power to get himself on base, which is a great sign. But it looks like they're gonna one of their spare outfielders is gonna be Steve Pearce. He's gonna primarily be our backup outfielder, and because I think that's what they wanted in the first place, because they want to platoon him with Curtis Granderson in left. The only thing is with Pearce, I really don't trust his defensive abilities when he's an outfielder. If he's an infielder, I mean, I guess I could, because he primarily plays first base when he's playing in the infield, but left field, I really don't trust his defense a whole lot. So I can see why they want him as the backup outfielder, because of his offense, because he can platoon with a lefty-righty swap with Granderson. So Carrera, being a natural lefty, he's really going to have to earn his spot if he wants to be one of those extra outfielders on the team this year. So that will pretty much do it for today's video. I just thought I'd give a little update on, some of the injury news that was released today and that kind of a weird outrighting of Ezekiel Carrera. I thought that was kind of interesting and thought I should report on that. I don't know how many of these videos I'll do because, like I said before, spring training, the outcome really doesn't matter if they win or lose. It's all about what prospects are playing really well. But again, I'll talk to you all later and have a good one.